Hi everybody, this is the IOTA Shimmer Discord. This is the weekly community governance call combined today with our Zeely Pirates welcome call with Antonio here and new members of our Discord and old members of our Discord and everybody kind of cumbled together today. Let's see what's the outcome. And so yeah, I just want to say hello everyone, and again talk about some governance and some DAO related stuff. And I just told it to those before. I don't have a much of an agenda today. Everything is still in the flow. We are um, working, and I'm very much thinking and writing up what we have discussed over the last 2-3 meetings around involving the EVM into our governance mechanism to secure the community treasury funds. Yeah, so that's one more technical based thing. The other thing will be then to formulate basically this new environment or this new network and bring it into our existing rule set, yeah, which we have worked so long on it, and we have so much work put into our governance framework and all the specifics of how our governance system works, that we definitely, of course, will need to implement anything that comes as an add-on into this framework. And so I'm basically in the moment, I'm just drafting things out. I hope that I can finish it over the weekend, and I will then just share it in the governance channel, and I'll ping you all, and then you have something to read. And maybe in the next meeting we can go through, and I'm always, I'm very keen to hear your comments. And we have seen over the last 18 months or even longer that this process actually works very well, that I throw out a raw template idea, and then we all together work together on figuring out the details and making it bringing everyone's ideas and comments into this whole thing, which usually leads to a really great outcome and a much better one that I would have been able to write just alone. So that's let's continue this very well working process over the next couple of weeks and define how the Shimmer EVM or general EVM chains and the involvement of a smart contract and a governor contract for securing for decentralizing and securing our community treasury should work, and how our voting and decision making around these treasury funds should then be implemented into the framework. That's the thing that I'm on. And then, as I said, the only real thing that I'm if you want to say something, just say or mute yourself. Yeah. Oh no, I hear myself echoing somewhere. I don't know where it's coming from. Yeah, the only other thing is basically, like I said, I have been preparing my speak for the TangleCon tomorrow, and I did kind of a recap of all the things that we have done in the IOTA community for governance since basically the inception of governance idea happened in end of April 2021. And I think this list is kind of really impressive, and it kind of made me proud to look through all those things. Like I said, like maybe 20% of it I had already forgotten that we did this, and oh yes, and this happened, and it's kind of cool. And this is just a high-level overview of what we have done over the last years. And everybody in this call, and I know a couple of you have been with us from the beginning. You all should be super, super proud that we are where we are now, that we have now had a couple of votes, that we have a working, functioning community treasury that is going to be established as a DAO in the Marshall Islands very soon, and that all those things have happened. We've developed voting systems, we have developed tech, we developed frameworks and rule sets. We have involved so many different people and community members. It's just really, really great to see what we have done. And I'm just giving a short run through, and then maybe JD can take over and talk a little bit about the treasury, and maybe Antonio can give some insights on Sealy. And we got our call very well done. So everything started actually, like I said, end of April 2021, when those DAO tokens appeared. Yeah, out of nowhere, we had a Chrysalis upgrade, and there was this blog post, and Dom said, "Hey, community, let's do a DAO. There's a bunch of tokens. It's worth $100 million, and it's going to be yours if you if you do a DAO." Yeah, it's kind of strange that all these has led to where we are now. Yeah. And basically, what we did is kind of we came together as a community and started to talk about that. And I'm still up today very, very proud in the whole way this whole discussions went. Yeah. If I recap it, of course, there have been hard discussions and long discussions, and people had a lot of strong opinions, but there weren't any real issues. I think everyone that got involved was kind of on the same boat that we wanted to do something good with these tokens for the community. And to do something good with this, we would have to think up governance from the fundamentals and from the ground up. Yeah, and all those discussions and those questions that we had, and this weeks and months of every day, hundreds of messages in our channels around the thing showed and shows me until today how deeply serious we took the thing. Yeah, it was not just like, well, there's money, let's just take care that we spend it as fast as possible. No, we made really a lot of thought process, and we put a lot of thinking into this whole thing. And yeah, it's really a strange timeline. Yeah, so in beginning of May, we opened this little GitHub discussions forum because we already there we figured out, okay, Discord is kind of super difficult to have this all together. We had one channel and we had so many messages every day that you couldn't. It took you an hour or 2 hours to just read what was happened from the day before. And so we made this little GitHub repo with the discussions forums, where we started to sketch out ideas. And then we got the Firefly team involved because we figured out at one point, okay, there needs to be a net a real DLT-based voting system to be put in place, and nobody had really an idea how this could work. And because especially we didn't have smart contract, we didn't have EVM. We are again very special layer one, and so we got the Firefly team involved, and we all got together with the Firefly team. We made the first design mock-ups and thought through this whole process of how could we vote, and we made a lot of decisions around this time in what should be the quorum, what should be the majority, how will voting power be distributed, and all this stuff happened in basically in the summer and autumn 2021. Yeah. Um, what else happened is we had this DAO Pioneer also in this time. Yeah, this was kind of the kickstart for all the community involvement in DAOs besides the treasury. Yeah, and I think the DAO Pioneer time, how many weeks it was, Antonio? Nearly 6 weeks, I think, where we did this every day from Monday till Thursday. We had 2 community meetings around governance and around DAOs, and we all learned together from the Web3 community that has been there before us. Yeah, and this was kind of, I think, a great time and a great experience for a lot of it. And the outcome of this is still, you still see it every day in our community. Yeah, so many of the projects that are existing today and are big now kind of have been sourced and founded in this time around the DAO pioneers, I would say. And we ended basically the year 21 with having the final specification of the Hornet voting feature that Firefly would be used. Yeah, so there was Werner was involved a lot, and the Hornet team like Alex and Muxa came up with some great ideas of all the counting system in the nodes, and we had the specification finalized in the in November 21. Yeah. Still, we hadn't had a working voting system yet. Um, that was just about, yeah, the DAO pioneers. So to just recap that, we had 486 community members participating in the DAO pioneer in the first one. Not all of them have been part of every call, but we had a lot of calls with 50, 60 people. And yeah, 480 people got the role, had been engaged in the channel and followed this whole thing and watched the videos and all stuff. We did 51 live sessions, 2 times daily, Monday till Thursday. So one in the European time zone led by Antonio and one in the Asian American time zone led by me. And in the end, we had 15,000 minutes of voice chat just around DAOs in this 5 weeks in our DAO Pioneer. So that's kind of still very impressive numbers in my opinion. What else? Last year was an even more successful and impressive year. We started with the governance forum that we opened in February 2002. Um, Then April came, and then basically, I mean, we all knew the Shimmer network was kind of on the horizon, and then this Kapi made the proposal for the Shimmer ecosystem fund, yeah, to basically put an additional 20% of supply on top of the supply for Shimmer that was created by staking to have an ecosystem fund. And then end of May, we finally had all the technicals ready with Firefly to make our actual initial build and burn vote. The one that we are basically coming from here, yeah, from the Chrysalis upgrade time from April 21. It took us until end of May 22 to get this vote happening that we have been talking for a year. Yeah. Luckily, the vote, of course, went very well, and the community had a big agreement on using those funds and creating a DAO. Then we had the DAO Pioneer Learning Circle number 2 in June, with also good participation, a little bit less than before, and a little bit different focus. In July, we already had the vote for the Shimmer funding proposal. So basically, there we had the vote that we decided, yes, the Shimmer community wants an ecosystem fund. The Shimmer community wants a community treasury, and it wants this by adding 20% of the supply to the Shimmer network and giving 10% to the community and 10% to the Tangle Ecosystem Association. Yeah. Then the whole summer over, we have been working like crazy in the governance group to get the Shimmer governance framework going. And if you guys have been there and remember, we had not only one weekly meeting, I think from June until September, we made 2 weekly meetings because we had so much work to do. There were the bridge fund, there were so many ideas, and the whole summer over, we had basically non-stop meetings and talked about and developed this governance framework together. In November, we came up because we had the vote result of the Shimmer funding vote. It was clear, yeah, the community wants a treasury. And then in November, we came up with the first version of the grant committee proposal. And parallel to this, we have worked together with the Firefly team to basically build the Shimmer version of the voting feature, which of course was different and in the end, as we figured out, a little bit more complicated than we thought it would be in the beginning because Shimmer is such a different protocol to Chrysalis, and Firefly had to do a lot of changes. Then also in November, the Shimmer Growth Committee proposal came in by Dom. And in the end of November 22, we began already the selection process for the community treasury members. Yeah, and so basically the governance forum was open for the applications, and I think in the end, we received 26 applications from community members to become grant reviewers. And throughout November and December and January, I think, let me see. Yeah, in January, we had basically the third version for the community grant committee. Yeah, we had a lot of. This was especially related to a lot of changes from the legal side. Yeah, remember we had all these talks with the lawyers from Switzerland and the lawyers from Liechtenstein, and made a lot of changes in our legal approach to the community treasury. And in the end of January, we finally got the phase two voting going for these four proposals. Yeah, so who should be the grant committee lead? Who should be the grant committee grant reviewers? Should we even have a grant committee? And should we set up the growth committee? So these have been our four big proposals for 2023 for the beginning of the year. And then we had another couple of weeks to wait until middle of March until we could finally do our Firefly vote with on the Shimmer network, which I think was also a great success and a great way the Shimmer team, the Firefly team has implemented those voting features, decentralized now completely and free for everyone. And yeah, and since the 1st of April, we are basically live with the first real results of our 2 years of governance journey by having the Shimmer Growth Committee operating and especially having the Community Grant Committee operating, giving out grants to the community, supporting our ecosystem, working as a charm, having a lot of cool ideas. And parallel, it's already the application is running to have this legally established as a real legal entity DAO in the Marshall Islands. So basically, this is where we stand now. Yeah. So our outlook, kind of over the next couple of weeks of months, is um, bringing smart contracts in the EVM into the game of governance, and especially in the governance framework, adjust this, and already start to make plans for what we do with the governance and with the IOTA tokens that basically started this whole thing. Still, we are not able to use them yet because IOTA doesn't have smart contracts, but things will move and things will come. And so this is something that we have to do over the next weeks and months. Think about exactly as a community what we want to do with this 5040 IOTA tokens, who should govern them, who should spend them, for what do we want to spend them, how do we want to spend them. All those questions will come. So you see, it's an endless journey in the governance game for us. And I just want to say thanks for every one of you that has been part of this. And yeah, this is kind of my little recap. And like I said, during the week when I went through all the documents that we did, all the DAO Pioneer, all this, the GitHub stuff that we have been doing, it's kind of so much content has been created and so much uh, collective knowledge created in our community that we all can be just super proud that we came this way. Okay. I have been talking too much and too long, and so is still somebody here? Yeah, a couple of you guys are there. So that's from my side, like I
Always,
said.
always.
All right. From my side, that's it for today from the governance thing. So maybe if people have some questions or have some comments or want to talk about something completely different, just go with it, my friends.
I just wanted to say thank you, Philo, for spearheading, for being there, for uh, being the DAO person within the foundation. I think this is really important to tell that it would have not been possible without you. And yeah, sometimes it's needed to say thank you and kudos. So thanks again.
Yeah, I'll just
Also because
continue.
you did really awesome job here. So thanks for that, definitely.
Yeah, but it's not about me. Maybe it's about it's I have to shift the focus. And I think JD is one of those new focus areas with the treasury. Do you have some news from our amazing community grant committee? What's going on? Still money left? Everything gone or
We went to Bermuda.
finally,
Um,
yes.
Right. No, and thank you, Philo. Totally agree. It was you picked this up, and not just myself, but the IOTA Foundation kind of helped guide the community and to get here, and now we're here. So yeah, the Treasury is going. I have reached out. I looked at kind of when my DAO originally stated the 30 to 60 days, and that's kind of like end of May, end of June. Hopefully we get that finalized. I have it was interesting recently. Someone was inquiring about the openness of the application process. And I stated to them that, you know, and I checked the guiding principles, and per the community designation, a project needs to be open source by the completion. But the process, I stated that, and it's not, I don't think specifically stated in the framework, but there can be a public proposal that the community sees, and then a private proposal in which the committee members would be under NDA, because this individual was inquiring, does everything have to be 100% transparent during the decision process? And I said, no. I said, the committee can easily sign an NDA. We will need some public proposal, and then it will have to be open source and at some point be public. But the how you say, the control of communication to publicize that is always in the hand of the grant receiver, of course. Yeah. So I talked with our lawyer, and he's going to create an NDA template. And if that individual decides to submit, then the committee will sign that, and of course will respect that in that sense. So I think that's good, and I think that might be, once people understand that, that may open up some more possibilities.
Yeah, that's really useful.
Yeah, and I mean that's kind of what we had always agreed upon, right? Like it's only the end result that has to be 100% public and open source. Yeah. We approved the identity grant by Pierce. That was a very difficult one, TCT 12. So if you go to proposals and go down to TCT 12, it really brought up a lot, I think, due to the transparent nature as well. It incited a lot of discussion in the identity channel. It incited a lot of discussion in Spec 2. And really, there was a lot of good information. One sec, I'm just going to close the door here. But I got a lot out of what the community was discussing, and brought a lot of questions to us. And I think what most importantly, it brought a question to the Treasury was, if someone is submitting a grant, it has to be open source. But if, let's say, take an identity for us, the full stack would be, you have the framework, the foundation that the IOTA Foundation does, and then you would have a wallet that interfaces with the user, and then you would also have the verifiable credentials issuance and verification. And that issuance and verification wasn't part of this grant. This grant was just for the wallet. And so the team really looked at and had a lot of discussion on, should we only fund something that completes the stack, or should we kind of fund certain puzzle pieces of the stack? And we went back and forth. And I think, I did a little research on like Tesla. So like Elon Musk, open sourced his charging stations, but kept a lot of stuff closed source, so that basically he had a business model. And he did that in the sense, what I believe, and I could be totally wrong, but was that there was no EV market at the time. He had the car, but no one was buying cars because they couldn't charge them. And to go out and build an entire infrastructure of charging devices was just kind of like a sunk cost. He's not going to make money on that. And he also didn't have the funding for that. So Imperial sort of is in a similar position where their business model side is, I believe, the identity as a service kind of verified credential side, but they need a wallet out there to ignite the actual market. So the Treasury can support that by igniting the market. And then now there's an identity market, and there will, this will is economics that then all of a sudden more people will come and build on it. Then people will see value, and then other people will come into the market and potentially finish that. Maybe they'll open source a verifiable credential side, issuance of verifications, but then they closed source the wallet side. So we looked at it as, are we supporting an ignition of a market, which essentially will grow the ecosystem? And I think we're still pondering that thought, and we decided that we want to support them. So we'll grant the first milestone, which is 80,000, which is basically a lot of the standards they're going to build. And it's going to be open source. It will be nice UX. It'll be white labeled, and then it will be for Chrysalis. The milestone 2, I think, depending on how they deliver for milestone 1, we can then reconvene and look at if we want to do milestone 2, which would be making it Stardust compatible. I think one thing that really helped our decision is we talked with the builders in the space, and not just the builders in the space, but builders that are working with identity and builders that are not working with identity, like let's say a DEX. And one conversation that came out of it, which was surprising, was like, I talked with Mr. Tangle, Dr. Tangle, and I didn't think he would say, identity is going to be involved with DEXs in any ways, but he actually talked that the opposite. He said, yeah, we kind of see that the DEXs will have the decentralized DEX, but then there also will probably be some sort of bridge where participants in a DEX are KYC'd or have some identity and meet government kind of standards. And then Cappy talked about that on the Munico podcast, that they also see that. So that was just really interesting to see that there is a need for this identity, even in the DEX space, which you wouldn't think. I also reached out to an industry, not really in the ecosystem Web3 space, but even in the traditional, that is working with DID. And what was interesting is they specifically said, we need a wallet with a good UX that can be white labeled. That's not their particular business model. Their particular business model is sort of machine DID, but they need a user interface between the user and the machine, and they need both identity applications there. So that was super interesting, really, really cool. And so we brought all that back and we discussed, and again, we agreed at the end to go with the first milestone. So that's our biggest funding so far. We'll be really interested to see the identity space get supported and how that goes. And then I think we have a couple more applications that came in, and a couple big ones, a couple small ones, and will be interesting to see what else comes.
Very cool. Check the chat. I think is this a question around now.
OpenSea would be superb to interact with. MetaMask would also work. Stage of Chrysalis.
Maybe not
Okay.
related. Yeah.
Yeah, something different maybe.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, does anyone have any questions for the Treasury out there?
Come on,
Okay.
guys.
Yeah.
Don't be shy. We
Free
still
money,
have...
free money. Come and get it. Just got to submit a proposal.
We still got 20 minutes to play around here.
Yeah.
No, all good.
Yeah.
No, but it looks cool. And you also got a couple of new proposals coming in, I saw, huh? So we had a little
Yes.
bit
So
of a dry fast of 2-3 weeks where we all thought, hey, what's going on with the community? Kind of nobody want to
right.
build anything, but yeah.
Yeah, we got some in. I'll say so. Let me see that the chat. What is it? The chat GPT one. Um, let's see if you go back a page.
Ah, wrong.
Treasury proposal. Yeah. So we actually made a decision to support this grant. Let's say it's TCT maybe 13.
Mm,
Yep.
this one.
And I then emailed the individual to the email, and the email bounced back. It doesn't work. So if anyone knows who's running that project, he may have some money there for him if he wants it. Free money. Just has to send me a good email. And then if we go up to TCT, let's see, 13. So 13, we declined this just because we're not really focusing on that segment. Um, and yeah, and then if we go up, this is an interesting one. Unleashing the power of 3D for Shimmer NFTs. We're currently reviewing that and looking into that and just seeing, again, checking in the ecosystem space,
Mm,
to we all have experience in the field, but we also want to always check in with the actual builders in the space and say, is this something that you would use? We don't
yeah.
we think there's great ideas, but we only want to fund stuff that our builders are going to use. Not just the builders, but the users as well. We go up. So this was a GameFi. They originally submitted for 500,000, which I declined just because we're not yet focusing on such big proposals. Cowie reached out to them and they were happy to discuss coming in at a lower amount. So we're just reviewing that, seeing, I believe they built on Avalanche and another protocol. So I think that's going to be something that we assess on how big their following is and how their game would connect to other ecosystems and support the growth. And if we go up,
Mm,
this one again was for smart cities, not really a segment that we're focused on, and kind of lacked a little bit of information. That is one thing for anyone out there. We really seek details. If a proposal comes in that really has no details, doesn't show who the team is, a budget breakdown. I mean, even in a tier one, a tier one could be basic, but if you're submitting a tier one for a really intricate build, then we would like to see the details of that intricacy. And then the DAO builder, this was something that was just interesting, some DAO infrastructure and sort of risk analysis. So the team is reviewing this. And yeah, amongst that, we are looking at a community incentive program and kind of looking to do like requests for proposals. So we may do that. I'm working on sort of creating a request for proposal in which the committee sees a need for something. We certainly can't go out and just create something on our own, but I think that if we see a need, we could potentially put a request for proposal just because we're not getting so many proposals in. So that's something we're looking at.
Yeah, I think
Creating kind of a request.
that's a good thing, kind of giving the community and giving the builders some ideas of what was it, because it's complex. Yeah, our ecosystem is kind
Yeah.
of it's very diverse. We have here things, there things. We have also a lot of things kind of that are building in the background or quietly. Then we have the touch point teams that are kind of still
Mhm.
very under the radar. Nobody really knows exactly what is going on there or what will be released when the EVM comes and stuff like this. So I think it's a good approach to say, hey, those are things where we really see this is missing, and this would be something that can make a huge difference for the ecosystem and the community. And defining those areas is, I think, a good approach, and will hopefully make it easier also for people to really say, yeah, it's like, yeah, I've been thinking about this all the time, and if they really want to do something like that, then I'll submit something, because I think about this since a long time. I didn't know if it's really something needed, but yeah, if an RFP for something like this comes out, I'm sure we'll get a couple of new good proposals from people that will feel engaged and to do something for the ecosystem. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, and that's it always is the priority if we get proposals come in. But if we if there's extra time, then we start thinking things of just how to get better, how to
Yeah.
get more proposals, how to support the community. Uh, so yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
it's
will
going
come.
it's going good. It's going good. I
Yeah.
will look forward to the Marshall Islands. I am not in
Yeah.
control of that, which aggravates me a little bit. I like to see things moving. But that's all right. I have to just put my hands up, and I think it's just a waiting game at this point as it deals with a government, which is always a
Yeah.
process. Um, hopefully that comes soon. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, man. Cool, cool. Yeah.
So what?
Um,
So how about Philo? Maybe you can just give us an update. So is there any update from the IEF on the campaign pause slash EVM? I think you just saw that. I know with like some of it, it's working a lot better this week than last week. So,
yeah.
it looks like this
Dave,
campaign
Da-
found.
yeah, Dave made a big summary in the tech announcement. Maybe you haven't
Oh,
read it
okay.
yet. So Dave gave a nice summary. Our devs are super happy with the performance of the EVM. Like Dave said, it's performing much better than expected, with this
Yeah.
really high load and this huge amount of spamming. Um,
Hmm.
they have been able to identify a couple of reasons why the performance degrades from time to time. This is one
Mm-hmm.
thing, is that the WASP nodes, with this amount of data they have, every node, the database of every node grows around 20 gigabyte per day, which is a lot. And so
Yeah.
they are currently highly working on making the automated pruning mechanism so that the nodes can get
Mm-hmm.
rid of this big data load. Because if you have so many data in your database, it slows stuff down, and either we would
Mm-hmm.
then need to deploy stronger nodes that will be more costly, and this is what we actually don't want. We want to have low
Right.
cost nodes so that really everybody will be able to run nodes, and so they're working on that. And they have 2 3 more fixes, or let's say changes, to do. And but in general, we are very, very happy with the campaign. Of course, everything could have been better from the beginning, and all there's a lot of work for all of us. I think we all kind of
Mm-hmm.
underestimated the amount of time it consumes from us. So basically, the whole comp teams and the ecosystem team and the half of the touchpoint team is bound and blocked by this campaign, because it's actually great to have so many new users coming into the discords. Everybody, of course, has a lot of questions, needs help there, needs help there, and it's great for us to do this. We are also very active in all the discords of the projects. We're in communicating with the projects all the time about this and that and issues here and there, and so it's great. But it's a really steep and good learning curve for all of us. We see
Mm.
a real good growth in numbers of participants, of people in our Discord, of our Twitter, of all the Twitterers and Discords of the teams. And so I think it's really great. And especially it's great that our community can now really test all these applications with free money, without problems. And I think it's like, if you have every day half an hour played around with these D apps, it gives you a huge advantage and a really good feeling now that you basically know, okay, things are, this is a lending protocol, it works like that. At DEX, okay, you have these pools, and then you have the farms, and you have you provide liquidity here and there, and then this stuff. It's such a great learning experience for our community that is basically doing DeFi the first time. So it couldn't have been better. Yeah, it's really good. Yeah, and we are definitely looking into doing such things again because Sealy.
Mm,
The good thing for us is also Sealy works very, very good. I mean, today in the morning they had like I think an 8-hour outtake globally where no quests could
mm,
have been supplied and stuff like this. But the rest actually, it's a really nice tool for creating engagement. Yeah, for having all those quests. There's a lot of stuff is automated, so it's not really much work to do once we have set it up properly. And this is Antonio has done an amazing job with Susanne in creating all these quests and timing and setting it all up. And so that's if you put enough work in the preparation, then this thing runs really, really well. Yeah, and so from our side, like Dave said, very happy with the EVM, with the nodes, with ISC. Everything works basically. There haven't been any protocol related issues, any bugs or anything else. It's only mostly around the infrastructure side of the EVM that we have to ramp up for such a high rate, which is not something that we expect in the EVM, in the main EVM, to happen in the beginning because people don't have unlimited funds to do unlimited transactions the whole day and didn't have to care about gas or impermanent loss and all these things. In the moment, you can just like bang spam as much as you want as a user, and it's impressive to see how what the people are capable of. Yeah, we have people here that have done uh, that get kind of 1,000 transactions per day managed on the EVM, and they're really. And I mean, of course, there have been some bot problems, but this also has been solved today. We adjusted the leaderboard and we removed many of those addresses that that had some questionable behavior. Let's say it like this. And yeah, it's great. And it's great to see that people are engaged, hunting for treasures, testing all the apps. We still also got new apps coming in, which is also cool, like Accumulator today, and some other applications have opened. And so it's great to see we get some interest from outside. New people come in our ecosystem. If we can keep a couple of them engaged with us, it's a great success.
nice, nice. Yeah, I've tested it, and it's probably the first time that I messed around with DeFi stuff, and I've learned a lot, and
Yeah,
it's a
yeah.
great campaign. It was a great idea.
Yeah, it's really nice. Yeah, it's really, and especially I'm also really happy about what our teams have been building. Yeah, I mean they're working with us since such a long time. Yeah, so Shimmer, Tangle Swap, ApeDAO, all
Hmm.
those they are sticking with us since 1.5 years. They have been waiting patiently, yeah, for us, for the tech to be ready, um, and they have built beautiful tech and really, really nice applications. So I'm really happy also for them that they can finally have their users testing stuff and engaging with them and growing their communities. And this is really a good time in the moment. It's really a good time for everyone. Yeah.
Nice.
Well, my friends. Does anyone have any other questions? I'm here now, so if you want to know something about the campaign, about the EVM, about DAOs, about governance, kind of the multi-question possibility in the moment, just drop it or drop it in the chat. I'm still available. Or something about the treasury, about grants from JD.
Yeah, I saw Robert 314 talk about good marketing strategies, airdropping coins in Firefly and university cities. It's a good idea. I know there's a few community members discussing the incentive program, incentive ideas, just really tossing ideas around. Certainly pass that on to them.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. The problem is the people in the university cities first need to have Firefly to drop them some coins, but that's on a different paper. But yeah, if you have good marketing ideas, that's the first place for you to go is approach the grant committee. Yeah, we're looking for all kind of cool new marketing ideas and features. Kind of, you see, we just sometimes have to test stuff out, and there were of course some doubts that this Sealy thing is kind of, I mean, all the others, Sui and Aptos, and they all have done it, and they had armies of 70,000 bot accounts in their Discord and things like this. Luckily, it's different. I'm very, very surprised and happy about the people that we get already actually in our Discord. All of them are super nice. All of them are super friendly and curious and want to know about the project. Of course, also they all want to get their quests done and wait for their airdrop. But there's a lot of interest. We also got new developers coming in, asking questions about the tech. They're interested in deploying, and so we got a lot of new connections, new people coming into Touchpoint, and it's a very good way of doing things, in my opinion. The mood in the Discord is great. People are, yeah, not bored anymore, and so they have something to do. And once EVM is live on mainnet, this will just continue because then you basically either you can hang out in spec and have some fun, or you do something with your deal. You check your farms, you check your wherever your pools and things like this, and you do something with your capital and you get some earnings or you take some losses or whatever. But that's kind of a new narrative that we're going to have in our community, that you basically also now can use the protocol for useful stuff. That's kind of really good.
Hmm.
Yep,
Nice.
yep.
I see Kung Fu Ape asking if the DAO is looking to buy other DAO tokens and NFT to make the treasury bigger. No, we don't take part in sort of speculative investment. However, to make the treasury bigger, the original community members does have the vision of creating a self-sustaining treasury. However, the current method we have for that is a grant receiver is free to voluntarily donate a percentage of a token if they had a token, or just give back to the treasury. But that's by any means not a requirement, nor does it affect the proposal review. I think as we get set up in the Marshall Islands and down the line, when we can make sure that legally everything is absolutely safe, there may be a possibility to where the DAO could, potentially, own equity or something, but that would never be a requirement. It would just be on a donation purpose, as the DAO is a nonprofit. So we probably prioritize making sure that the community and the committee and the DAO itself is protected, and a lot of that is a gray area. DAOs investing and buying tokens. So at least with the treasury, the Tangle treasury, that's our focus right now. The community, as Philo talked about, is once we get proper voting system with the IOTA tokens, with smart contracts, there can certainly be other options down the road if the community chooses to go that route.
Yeah, there's
Are we
one.
capturing?
Yeah.
Go ahead,
Yeah,
Philo.
there was this question if you are capturing Matrix. Yeah, if,
Mm.
JD has some nice reports prepared. I don't are they public already? No, but you're capturing Matrix.
No, man, this identity
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
has took so much time the last 2 weeks to just make sure. We just really wanted to make sure we're doing it right, because it was a big amount. We put a lot of time into it. So I am working on a quarterly report that is going to basically focus on how many we funded, what percentage is going to what segment, what type of proposals, etc., to kind of show the quarterly progress. Um, we have we are constantly talking about what kind of metrics can evaluate success of a project. So let's say we fund a project, what will determine that it's successful or not? That's really difficult, especially when it comes to like content stuff, because just because someone has 500 likes on a YouTube content video or a Twitter, does those likes equate to actual ecosystem expansion? And it's something that we're constantly talking about and trying to figure out how to best not only evaluate but support. And is the Treasury the right venue for something like content? On other projects, quarterly report is great. Yep. Hopefully, I mean, that would come out July 1st. I know I'll get it done before July 1st. Maybe I'll try to come out a little earlier with it, but definitely. And it's also I'm gonna try to show time, like how much time does the committee spend doing administrative stuff? How much do they spend doing meetings? And then how much do they spend actually just reviewing proposals? As well as my time, how much time do I spend doing administration work or working on the website, social media, etc. And I think we'll be able to follow that through the year, and hopefully we'll see that the committee become more efficient, that we're spending more time on proposals than we are, in meetings or such. Of course, we're doing that right now as we start to align ourselves and get into a flow. But we're doing good. We're getting there. I think one thing we've discussed was, do we want to sniper shot with our funding, or do we want to kind of do a segment base? And I wouldn't say spray and pray. That was one discussion, but more of a diversified approach with the community. So, like, let's say a sniper approach would say, "Hey, we want to just focus half the treasury on one or two projects for DEXs, decentralized finance." That is some treasury's strategy. Or it could be, do we prioritize a diversified approach and, hey, let's do a little bit in this segment, like identity, a little bit in this segment, Web3, a little bit in this segment, dev tooling. And I think that's where the consensus aligned with, to go with a segmented approach. But then also look for solid projects in those approach, not just simply fund everything that comes. In China and India, a DAO can be confused with God, the single truth, good or bad for marketing. I mean, I'd like to think we're God, but we are not.
Is this because of the wording DAO has a specific meaning in China and India?
Oh,
Very
got
likely.
it, got it.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, I see.
I mean, I think being confused with God is generally likely having a positive effect. There might be some people that will say that's blasphemy or something, but I mean, you can't make everybody in the world happy. And we just would have to stick with numbers, and even those have different meanings. Yeah, so yeah.
That's interesting, because a DAO being a community, and truly, I think the best DAO would be a single truth from the community, a consensus. So that's quite interesting. We are the Tangle Community Treasury, so we're not technically. Of course, the LLC will be called Tangle DAO, but publicly we go by Tangle Treasury or Tangle Community Treasury. It's only 50% of the population. I know, right? That is pretty wild. China and India make up half the world. That's a good question. We might have to reach out to some individuals from there, and rather than.
I'll ask Kuma. It's actually interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
let's see what he's
Yeah.
saying. Yeah, he never mentioned it specifically, so it wasn't something that came directly to his mind, I think. But I'll ask him. Yeah,
Yeah, that's a good something to investigate.
Yeah.
Any other questions out there? Got Robert 314 writing a little something.
Oh yeah, let's spam some emojis in the meantime.
Yes, yeah, indeed, it is tricky. Yeah. So if anyone wasn't here on the beginning of the meeting, this is our Thursday governance call that Philo leads. You could reiterate, maybe, Philo, that what we're working on aside from getting updates on the treasury, is really how a smart contract DAO will be in place to handle the 50 Ti once EVM goes to IOTA mainnet, and that will be further funding to expand the ecosystem.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. There's always a lot of stuff to do in governance. Like I said, this call is recorded. We'll upload it to our YouTube channel. We have the next governance call on next Thursday, same time. What's that? It's like, I think, 4 p.m. Central European Berlin time. If you want to know more about governance, you can also join. I'm going to be talking tomorrow at the Tangle conference, our first IOTA online conference. I'll give a little recap about governance, what happened over the last 2-3 years in the project. And yeah, I think that you can join for free. Don't nail me for the time. For me, it's like I think 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Whatever. I think it's 9:15 for European time zone people. So this might also. But in the end, come back next Thursday. Come back tomorrow because Antonio is going to host a pirate meeting here in the channel every day. If you have questions about the campaign and all the stuff, just join us there. Until then, thanks for everyone for listening. Thanks everyone for asking questions. And thanks, JD, for giving info on the treasury. Like always, we are happy that we got a lot of new community members here. We are happy that we have still a lot of old community members here. All of you are welcome. And let's all work together to make Shimmer as great as possible and then transfer all this over to IOTA and just basically conquer the world again. My friends, see you for governance stuff next week. And if you have any questions, just drop us a message here in the channels. There are a lot of them. You'll find the right one. And if you have a good idea, submit the grant proposal to the Treasury as long as they still have funding. So first come, first serve. Yeah. So until then, have a nice one, and thanks everyone for being with us here. Yeah. Good night, good evening, and see you.
Bye-bye.